take the two throttle cables out, turtle handle off, and spray. Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do is loosen up these two nuts that are holding the throttle cable in. This is the 14 mil. Now you're going to want to take your JIS screwdriver and unscrew these two bolts up on the bottom. And both of these screws are different lengths, so the shorter one goes in the front and the longer one goes in the back. Now you're going to want to get this apart so you can take your two throttle cables out. If your throttle feels hard or sticky, it's also a good idea to take your handle off and spray some WD-40 in there. Alright, now you want to get your lube tool. It's not 100% necessary. You can just use a plastic bag and put it around the top with a rubber band and pour or spray lube in slowly and let it drain down. But I have this lube tool and I'm using this Protect All Cable Life chain lube. You can use pretty much anything, but I'm going to stick the straw at the top hole, and these things leak a lot, so they're not always perfect, but just spray. It'll come out the top a little bit, but it will make its way down. Alright, and for the second cable, you want to just get a 10 mil wrench, loosen up this lock nut, screw this down, now you can get your cable free. And for lubing this cable, it's easier to just kind of put the straw in from your can and spray a little bit at a time. Let gravity bring it down. Then you want to work the cable in and out as you're doing it, just to help the lube get down all the way. And yeah, make sure you got a bunch of paper towels at the end of the cable and for your hand, because this gets pretty messy. Alright, now you want to start getting the cables back into this little housing, so tighten that nut back up. Make sure you screw this long nut back into the same position it was before, and then screw the lock nut back on top. Tighten it down. You don't need to go crazy, just tighten it so it doesn't move. And then do the same with this side. Get it back in there. Alright, now you want to thread this cable over one side of the handlebar, and you want to grab the other cable and put it over the other side, because you have two different sides of where these ferrules go. So you just slide those back in. And just a tip, if you disconnect your throttle cables from the carburetor before you do this, it makes it a lot easier, because now I can just pull on the cables and get them a little tighter or loosen them up if I need to, because it can get a little tricky, especially when everything is slippery from the lube. Got to bring this bolt back up, or this nut. Hold this cable in. These usually don't screw all the way in, and they don't need to be that tight, just tight enough. Alright, now that everything looks like it's lined up, we got both cables in, you can put the cap back on and put the screws in from the bottom. Alright, and remember you got two different sizes, so the short screw goes in the front, towards the front wheel. Oh, God. That's why I didn't screw this one back on. You gotta leave this one off to fit that screw. Gotta leave this stupid throttle cable bolt off, or else the clearance between the top of the screw and in between this, where your starter button, isn't large enough. Always do that. Now you can fit this in. There we go. Turn both sides up, nothing too crazy. Still got lube on it. And make sure both of your cables are facing the right way. You don't want them facing out or facing in. And then just go ahead and wipe all this extra lube off you got everywhere if you're as dumb as me. That's it. All you gotta do, if you disconnected your throttle cables, is put them back on the carburetor and you're done. Your throttle should feel much smoother now. And just a quick note for those of you who did take your throttle cables off, prior to lubing them. Make sure that you connect the bottom throttle cable. This is the one with that little bracket on there. Make sure you connect that one first, and then you connect the top one, and use these nuts together to adjust your throttle, your free play.